That's fine with me.
Well, did
Anyway,
but working for Disney, did that give you like a pension or anything? Or
oh yeah,
that's good.
not a huge pension because when uh, when they first were opening, before I started in '79, they opened in '71. The union said, or the union was talking to Sonny about, well, what are they going to get paid? And Sonny said, we'll offer the musicians the same thing we pay California. And the fucking union said, oh, you don't want to do that because it was gonna give us a better deal than the regular musicians. So all the work that we put in, there was very little. The only time we got any benefits were when they did TV parades and things like that. So I figure, well, it ain't much. So
It's
I decided to take my pension 10 years early. So instead of at 65, I took it at 55. I got like $300 a month. I figured, fuck it, that puts some food on the table.
yeah.
And of course, I invested my mother taught me how to save. So when I moved here, I bought my house cash free.
Whoa.
And just invested my money, and Disney stock split 4-for-1 and then 3-for-1. So I made some money on it, and
That's good.
yeah,
Sounds great. Yeah.
so I'm doing well, enjoying every day is a Saturday, and I love it.
Well, that's good. Well, David retired because he worked for the railroad.
Wow.
Yeah. And I too retired about 10 years early. It wasn't really entirely of my own choosing. I mean, it was.
Hey,
But hey, Barry.
Hey, Barry.
hey, yo.
What did you do for the railroad, Dave?
But anyway, I was like mid-50s, and I was a supervisor, low-level supervisor in customer service, and it was like they started putting a squeeze, I think, to try to encourage me to retire. And long story short, as I went out I took disability for my paralyzed vocal cord, but I never have gotten around to figuring out what my pension might have been. I just take what I have and go with that. But
Was it with Amtrak or which?
no, it was
Which
with CSX. They're through Florida.
freight? Yeah, it was freight trains.
Yeah,
Freight.
freight trains. Yeah,
Wow, well, good for you.
yeah.
Hey, Barry, how you doing, Ross?
I'm doing good, Peter. What's
Good.
up?
Just enjoying life, you know.
Y'all saw that photo that I found this week with Neil Undersayer and Irv Eisen
Yeah.
and Bruce O'Neill and Scotty.
What's interesting, I think, speaking of Irv Eisen, I was in my final months of my college degree up in upstate New York, and Irv decided to take up skydiving.
Right.
He broke his leg in 4 places in the first jump.
I got
I remember that.
He was in a cast from his hip to his big toe.
I remember that.
Couldn't play, because you have to stand playing. So
Yeah,
it
it worked out for you.
Worked out for me, and so I finished my degree, and I was an RA in the dorm, and I was supposed to sign everybody out, and I went up to the administration. I said, I got a job offer in New Orleans. I need to leave. Can you mail me my diploma? They said, okay.
Yeah.
So I came down, and the rest is history.
I remember all that. I was around for that. David was around too. And Tom.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you used to always have if I was coming in on a night that I wasn't working, you had a dark-haired girl with you, and you'd ask me to sit with her because she'd get bored. Pete, I remember.
Me?
Yeah.
Wish I remembered who it was.
Oh well. Barry, I talked to Billy, and he said he was he did your granddaughter's. He saw you at last Friday.
Right, he did.
He's doing that again today, and something else for that same organization.
Yeah, that's good. He stays busy with all that.
Yeah,
What's he do?
he was
he's
videotaping
a
a summer camp.
Photographer for a theater.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Production, theatric productions. A lot of them. He does the official photography.
Is that Barry or Billy?
Billy.
Billy Blank. He was one of the waiters at Mustache when you were there.
There was a Barry, I thought that was also a photographer.
Yeah, that was Barry Kaiser. He was
Here
in
comes Joan.
still photography.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm going to share the screen right now with a picture I found of, I guess David's not in there, but Kent and Rick and Eddie Ali and Billy
Yeah,
Blank and myself and John Leonard.
Wow.
look at that picture. That's back when we were stepping out, huh?
That's right.
Hi, Joan.
Hey, Joan.
Hey, Joan.
Hello, Joan.
What's Billy Blank? What's Eddie Alley doing?
I don't know. You know, I invited him. I don't know if I have the right email. I've been inviting him, but they never show up. So
Well, a couple of years ago, he showed up to a function. We all had dinner or lunch.
yeah, he's in Colorado. He was an engineer. He was a mechanic on oil rigs or something. You know, he would go to in Colorado, he would go to the oil rigs and fix the motors or.
Oh,
He and his wife Karen showed up.
Yeah, I got in the car with Billy, had him in the car, and I didn't recognize anybody. I was like, oh, who are these people? And Eddie Ali.
Well, back in the day, his wife Karen, who was a waitress at the Mustache, she was the prettiest thing. Jeez, you remember that, David? She was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, beautiful. A
Mhm.
knockout.
Yeah.
Hey, the big news in Clearwater, Florida today is that the Trump is in town,
Oh, God.
tying up traffic. I couldn't get my hair done because there's too much traffic.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you look good. We like your hat. You would
I
like.
don't want to inject politics into this, but
He came by your restaurant, didn't he? And
well, I thought she maybe they come by for a sandwich, but they were going actually not too far from here. Probably went right down past my corner.
Joan, did you see that picture I posted of you and myself
And where?
on Facebook? I put one of you and me.
You know, that's probably the Syncopated Times.
I put one on there from my camera.
Was it one of those Parasol Parade pictures?
No, just of you. I think it was at Carnegie.
is it
Yeah.
on Facebook?
Yes.
Well, I have a friend here who kept pestering me. She said, you need to get an article about yourself in the Syncopated Times. And I really feel so humble about my career in music. I mean, I held my own and I led bands and whatever, but Barry, I'm nothing like you. And, you know, you talk about the good banjo players, the Gim Burtons of the world, the Ronnie Bills of the world. And most of the time when they do stories in the Syncopated Times, it's all about your musical chops. And
Right.
I was really, really uncomfortable about all this. And so this friend of mine contacted the editor who contacted a writer, and all of a sudden the guy is saying, we have room for you in the August issue. And I was just like, oh my God, you know, what am I going to do about this? I started writing and I realized that I could put the focus more on organization, whether it was booking bands years ago, putting bands together, or even leading a band. You know, a lot of us banjo players in the Mustache were not the best banjo players in the world, but you had to put sets together and, you know, you could play Bye Bye Blackbird and all that. And then,
Right.
of course, the end with the businesses that I've had and the festival. So I just kind of went, whew, yeah, you don't have to toot your horn about what a great banjo player you are, but it's more about the organization and, production. So anyway, that what you saw might have had something to do with that. I don't know.
I have something to add to this.
Adding a little bit, I'm not comfortable with that stuff at all.
I was trying to find the picture, Barry, but I don't see it on here.
The guy that hired me,
Maybe I didn't put it on there. Huh.
I didn't see it.
You have the
Barry.
syncopated times there, Tom?
No, I just have Barry's Facebook.
Oh,
I thought I saw something with you,
It's my
Barry,
daughter.
having your arm
I was
around
talking to
Joan.
my daughter last night. She says,
Yeah, I
I'm
was-
going to put this
I
on
was sitting with
Facebook. I
Joan
said,
like
wait a
this.
minute.
Well, send it to me, Joan, and I'll put it up on our little. as a display.
What I was
Joan-
going to say is
Joan-
that the guy that hired me, that hired all the musicians from Disneyland and Disney World, he said most people hear with their eyes, and which is true, what you're just talking about. And
Yeah.
remember when Frankie Lynn was going to be playing in a gig during
Yeah.
Mardi Gras, and I said, because Sonny said, "Oh, is there any banjo players I can listen to?" I said, "Well, yeah, come to such and such hotel." And
Did you work at Disney?
Hey, Jeff.
yeah, I retired from Disney. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
anyway,
I did a little bit of work in
I
Disney,
told,
but
because Frankie never
California.
smiled, and I said, "Frankie, Sonny Anderson is going to be in the
Oh boy.
room tonight.
Hey, Jeff.
Smile, you gotta smile, because Frankie never smiled." And
Hey,
so
Herb.
I see something.
Hey, Herb.
We were right in the middle of a
Hey,
song.
Hey.
And,
Hey, Jeff, I'm impressed. The first time you came on half naked, now you're wearing shirts with
Hey.
collars.
But you still look cute.
I
how you
do.
doing, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Call your doctor, quick. No, I'm wearing my formal outfit.
Oh my goodness. Look at that.
The hell is it?
Yeah, I buy all of my ensembles at eBay, mildly used.
I thought it was, at least it's not Goodwill.
No,
So, Joan, are you going to write the story about yourself? Is that the thing?
Say that again.
Are you going to write a story for Syncopated Times about yourself?
Well, I wrote it. My daughter has a way with words, so she inserted some little funny things, and we sent it off to the guy, and he said, "I'll just use what you wrote." I think they might have put some citations in there about how to find, because they said a lot about YFM, about how to find out about the mustache at Carnegie or Ed Sullivan or something. But
Right.
anyway, it's there.
Well, right after Carnegie, the All Frets magazine. I don't know if you're familiar with that, All Frets magazine. They
Yeah.
did
Carnegie.
they did a story on Carnegie, and in the same
Ah.
issue, they asked me to write my banjo story. I tell
Okay.
you what, that's a humbling experience. That's easier said than done.
Yeah, I
Gosh, are you there?
just said we all finally did get to Carnegie.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Charlie
How you
Warner.
doing?
Gotta hit that little camera thing in the lower left.
Yeah, Charlie, you can't see you. Turn your camera on.
I'm not good at this, so I'll figure it out.
Lower left corner, there's a little line through a camera.
So John McClendon he called me today, and we were trying to get him on, but his computer won't handle it, so he
Who?
can't make it.
There
Is
you
that
go.
Craig? Craig, is that you?
Hey,
That is Chuck
Charlie.
Orneman.
Hey, Charlie. Man, we got a bunch of trombone players across the bottom row here.
It's about
Well,
time.
we're long lasting, that's all.
Well,
So
Craig,
how do I get?
this is your first time on. Why don't you tell us a little bit? Usually the first timers tell us when they started with the mustache, what club, what year. So you're on.
God,
Who?
I don't know
me?
that I think that
No.
far. I met Joel in the fall of 1961 when I was a freshman at Harvard. And he had just got out of business school and was working for his father in, just north of Boston. And the following summer, he accompanied the Dixieland band that we met through because he was getting ready to open what at that time was going to be the first franchise off the Red Garter in San Francisco.
Right.
And so he did come with the band on a USO tour to Germany. But then that fall he opened. And in the spring of, that would have been the fall of 62. And in the spring of 63, he called me. And I don't even think I'd been in the club. I wasn't old enough to pass, to have an ID that could get me in the club. And he called me and said, I'm pointing to open a club on Cape Cod this summer. And it holds 500 people. And I think I need an instrument to play full time down there in addition to banjos. Would you be interested? And after overcoming some doubts, no, actually, I thought that was a great idea. And I started coming into the Boston club that spring because I really didn't know Harrigan and all of the tunes, Mammy, and all of the tunes that he wanted, that the band was playing. So over the spring, coming in a few times with Tex Wyndham and Buzzy Podwell and Carl Lunsford and Don Brayton and Dave Glass were the two tuba players in that band. And Tex Wyndham was playing keyboard, playing piano. But, Tex would get a horn out and play, I think he played 2 tunes on trombone, Mammy and something else. And
So
so
you might have been the first trombone player with the mustache. Is that right?
I was. And as a result of that, I opened the New Orleans Club, the St. Louis Club, the Philadelphia Club, the New Jersey Club in Summers Point, the New York Club. I played in the New York Club, took a year off and played in the New York Club after the first summer on Cape Cod. And so I got to see a number of the clubs, the Denver Club. It was always one night stands. I would fly in, play the opening night, and then leave. So
I just realized that's Craig Grant.
yes.
You're Grant.
Yeah, because you're Mr. iPhone on the screen, and I had to look again, Craig. It's good to
Yeah.
see you.
Good to see you, John.
Yeah.
And Craig, you know Gim. Gim's on the screen too.
Oh yes, Gim and I met that spring.
Yeah,
when
we
he
played all the openings.
Yeah, he was
we
playing at the Mustache when it was still the Red Garter. He opened it in the fall of '62. Gim.
Yep, 2.
Yeah, when he was still at Boston University grad school. So
we have half of us here from the early days, the 60s, and half of us were in the late 60s, 70s.
yeah. Well, by then I'd been fired from Mustache, so.
And Jeff, you were there the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Craig, are you still up in Connecticut?
No, I've lived for the last 41 years in LaGrangeville, New York.
Okay.
So after I left Ridgefield, Connecticut, which is where Gim lives and where I lived when he moved to Ridgefield, I went to Pittsburgh for 4 years, and then I moved to the Poughkeepsie, New York area. LaGrangeville is about 10 miles east of Poughkeepsie. And thinking I would be there 2 or 3 years, and we've been there 40. We moved in the spring of
Oh my goodness.
79. So we've been there 41 years.
Good for you.
By the way, last week, most of you guys signed off, and you know who came on was Christine.
Oh,
No
really?
kidding.
Christine came on. She said she couldn't come on this week, but definitely next week. So stay tuned for next week.
Who's going to come on next week?
Where is she
Christine
living?
said she's going to be on next
Oh.
week.
Good.
Where is she living?
She's in South Carolina, and we have John Murata just came on. We don't see your picture yet, John.
Okay, hold on, kid. I didn't know you were so anxious.
I'm not that anxious.
I was anxious when you used to write the checks.
Everybody, that's the only time I had so many friends. I've never had that many friends since.
And John, take your camera and aim it at your face, so we see your white hair.
Charlie, move your hand.
There
Hey,
you
Peter.
go.
Oh, God, you look wonderful.
You want to see the muscle too?
No,
Now I'm out of breath because I made a muscle. God.
And
I
we
got
have the
my
wonderful
man-
Mike Gentry with us. Hello, Mike.
Hello, hey, how you doing?
Look, there's John.
Hi.
There's John, a couple years ago.
God, I had
You
black
looking
hair
good, John.
then. Look at that hair. God.
Man,
jeez.
you look like Ringo Starr.
You could have been in the Monkees.
The mu-
Right.
God.
Oh, wow. And there was Sue Motzinger back here in the back. That's Sue Motzinger.
Hmm.
We went to Las Vegas, and while we were at Las Vegas doing our show, she went and tried out for another show, and she got the job. As soon as she finishes the job, she left and went to work for them.
And you know what, John? Last week when Christine came on, you were still on, but she hadn't changed much. Wouldn't you agree?
I think I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's shocking, shocking.
Yeah, she really
Yes.
hadn't changed much. I mean,
That's what-
50
that's
years
what-
later, but you know.
Hey, that's what God
Charlie.
does for you.
Charlie,
God
how are
bless
you
you.
doing? Charlie Boyne,
Yes, sir.
how are you doing?
Good, Pete. Are you able to see everybody or just?
Yeah, if you
I
go to
can
what's
see-
called gallery view,
I can see 9.
How do you do that?
Are you on a phone, Charlie?
No, I'm on the iPad.
Okay, if you hit gallery,
go up in the
Gallery.
right-hand corner.
Oops.
hi, Jim.
There I am.
I just
Turn your
went.
picture off. Hey, Rick.
All right.
Hey, Rick.
And
My
Charlie,
plate
you
decided
turned
to
your
join
picture
today.
off that time. There you go, Charlie.
I don't know. I don't see gallery.
Well, somewhere in there, there's a gallery view, and you can.
It's in the upper left-hand corner. You got to touch the screen and it'll show you a gallery.
Tom, where y'all moving to?
Well, you know, we closed up the apartment in New Orleans because we couldn't
In
get
Arabella?
down there. So we just moved back to Maryland.
But you don't have the Arabella Street anymore?
No, and it's really sad. But, you know, we went down there and more things were closed in New Orleans than they were up here. So we just, you know, for the time being, we'll be back somewhere down there as soon as everything opens back up. But, you know, how long is
Hey,
So Herb, we never heard when you started. What mustache did you start at?
What's that?
Which
Which was your
mustache
first
club
gig
did you
with the
begin?
club?
Where Jeff just stepped on you. Jeff, back off. Go ahead, Barry.
Which club did you start at? How did you start with the mustache?
Oh,
You never told that story.
I guess I started, I was working at New Jersey water samples for water purity. And I kept hearing about this trombonist playing down in Summers Point. So you got to hear the trombonist down in Summers Point. Blah, 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 this is going on. And then your father's mustache and everything. No, it turned out to be Craig Grant, who I eventually met. But anyway,
There's Ruthie.
Oh.
yeah, there's Ruthie. So anyway, so I started out at a place in Wildwood called Andy Tata's Mickey Finn Speakeasy. And Bob McKenzie and George French came in and auditioned us. Now that's a
George
compliment.
French. Oh.
Cool.
And they deemed us suitable for the Philadelphia club. So that got me started. So that's the beginning of my story.
What did we
You know,
do?
I'm not sure that Craig would remember, but he and I did a gig on top of a red circus wagon at a place called Magic Mountain in Denver, Colorado.
My
Do you remember
God,
that?
that's ages and ages ago.
I was still in high school. You were still in
Yeah, I
high
was
school.
going to say, I was in high school too.
Yeah.
I'll
did it.
be damned. Yeah.
We did 5 shows a day, 5 days a week for $55 a week.
Oh yeah.
And then they stiffed us for 3 weeks.
And the crew that did, they did a whole show based around, not Over the Rainbow. What the hell was the name of the movie? Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, and they did a whole show featuring songs and dances and stuff from the Wizard of Oz, and they were all Mormons from Utah. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But
they were great. They were really good.
It was a great gig while it lasted.
Yeah, 1 year, 1 summer.
One summer. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I went in the Navy. When I got out, I went to the Mustache down in Larimer Square.
I'll be damned.
Because you went to South.
I went to South High School, and then I was in the first graduating class of Thomas Jefferson High School in Denver, and then I left to go east and never came back home except for a couple of visits.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I grew up in Denver.
Yeah, so I grew up in North Denver.
Yeah.
I went to North. My mom went to North, and her dad went to North. So.
Oh boy.
Anyway, sorry about that. And that's not mustache stuff. But Craig and I go back a long ways.
Well,
That's
between
amazing.
The two of
That
y'all,
long ago.
between the two of you and Gim, you guys that really pulled us through the Carnegie thing. That was something. It was follow the 3 leaders, you 3 guys.
Good to see you, Greg.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you again.
Thank you. You too. We've all got.
Jeff, you're some quiet.
We've either lost our hair or it's gotten white or gray.
It's gotten thinner but whiter. It's still there, though. It's still there. My mustache is going too.
Charlie Borman, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
You still in Florida?
A surprised number of you guys stayed in the entertainment field after the mustache.
We live in a place called Mount Dora, which is just northwest of Orlando.
Right.
They got hurricanes coming your way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to miss us.
Herb, is that hurricane going to go anywhere near you?
I don't think so.
It's going to be east.
I haven't seen the news today yet, but I think it's going to skirt the Florida coastline. It's probably headed right for Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, like it always does.
I just fought with my condo board to get a portable generator. Said that we'll have something if we lose power this summer. I hope we don't, but it's so hot down here. I just can't imagine being without a little AC.
Yeah.
It is hot. It's even hotter in Phoenix.
Yes.
But it's a draw.
It's always 110 up there. So, Pete, it's good to see you. It's good to see you, Joe. It's good to see everybody, actually.
Yeah.
I wrote to Joel to check up on him, but he didn't write back. So, and I sent him the video from last week, and I asked him to come on this week, but I don't know. No word.
I hope he's healing up okay.
This might be a difficult venue for Joel.
And by the way, I spoke with Christine and Banu after last week's call, and they said that those would be on next week. So you guys want to make sure you're on next week for sure.
Good.
So the links that I'm sending out, they're good for all of them. You know, like this week's link works next week.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep the same link then, right? Okay.
I'll keep sending you links, but they should be the same.
And
Thanks, Tom.
We appreciate all the work you're going through, especially flashing photos up on the screen. That's pretty neat.
That's
No
great.
problem.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
great.
Tom, you're the one we should send the photos to? Oh.
Yeah, if you send me the photos and tell me who it is, then I'll flash them up.
Oh, I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Well, that's the
I'm gonna
problem. I don't know who these people are.
Just figure out who the hell it is.
Jeff, I'm just so pleased you put a shirt with a collar on for us.
Yeah. Listen, my wife gave me such shit.
Folks, I'm gonna get off.
I was in
again.
my usual
I'll see you next
ensemble.
week.
Just be happy he's got his pants on today.
John, it wouldn't make any difference.
Have a good week. Good to see you, Pete, Joan, everybody.
All right, Charlie.
Hey,
Thank
Peter.
you.
Get on
What's
next
up,
week.
Pete?
I gotta get off now.
Hey, Charlie? Charlie,
Yes, sir.
are you playing down to
Yes.
where you live?
No, I play in my little room. I play. In fact, I got a trumpet. I'm studying the trumpet now.
Oh, boy.
Why I don't know. So I
Charlie
do.
and I worked together at Disney.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Charlie and I work together.
Yes.
Disney's reopened,
Good
right?
times. Good.
I think this is the first week we had 3 trombone players on screen at the same time. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, is that lucky.
Tom, see if you can do something about that, will you?
Yeah.
What were you saying, Rick?
You
Yeah.
good people take good care. I'm going to stay so long. But
So who is-
I'll try to get on next week.
H. Johnson.
Today.
Who is it?
H.
H. Johnson.
I know who's playing the banjo next to him. I can tell by the shirt.
All right. Well, I just didn't
Bye
know.
bye,
who-
everybody.
Bye, Charlie.
Charlie's always got a place to go.
Well, you know, we have company. It's funny. I'll tell you real quick.
Here comes
We
Ira.
have a neighbor. We have a neighbor and his dog come by every day at 5 o'clock. And they're out in the back porch now. And my wife is entertaining. But the man lost his wife shortly after they moved in this neighborhood. And he's an interesting guy. He's a sports car racer and a pilot. And he has this lovely doggie named Delilah. And they come by every day at 5. Delilah gets water from me, and she gets cheese from the people next door. And we sit and visit probably an hour every day. So that's why I'm always saying goodbye to you, because they're out there now, and I want to, of course, be with them.
Well, it's
But
good to see you. when you
I'll
come
see you
back.
next Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, what
And
he,
have a
what, he
good
isn't,
week.
what he isn't telling you is his neighbor brings gin and tonics.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll have I think 3 or 4 managers.
Wow.
Ira, David,
Banjos.
David,
One.
John Murata was a manager, and Gim was a manager for a while. Isn't that right, Gim?
I ran
4 managers. So my was it dealing with all these crazy musicians? Ira?
I never had a problem, except for one.
Well, you never
You
had
know
a
who that is,
problem,
Barry.
Gim, because you were a musician too, so you thought like musicians. Honest people like me, I didn't think like a musician. So I had fun because you guys were having fun up there, but I was jealous all the time. You guys were on stage and you were having the time of your lives, and there I was schlepping peanuts to people for 50 cents a box. And I'd look up and you were having the time of your lives. I envied you. I really envied you guys.
Well, that's an
Plus
honest
you-
answer.
Huh?
That's an honest answer.
Yeah, I
Yes.
envied you.
David, what about you?
It was no more of a challenge than dealing with the different floor people, the waiters and the bartenders. I mean, everybody was different, but yeah, I just, I guess I did regret that I never picked up the banjo while I was there. I thought that would be fun in these waning years. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was good.
Now, you don't want us to ask the question, what do the musicians think of the manager? We're not going to go there.
Thank you, Barry.
And the answer would mean as much to me today as it did then.
Yeah, right.
Nothing.
Jim, who was the manager in New York? I think he went to Fordham.
The Fordham?
Dave Hunt went to Fordham, but he wasn't a manager.
No,
What was Ron's
I don't know. He was.
Bob McKenzie was manager there for quite a while.
No, I know, Bob. This guy was.
What was Clark's?
How about Mike? Is it not Mike Reedy? Mike Reedy?
No.
Mike Reedy
This
was
was
there
a
for
guy-
a while, yeah.
This
Yeah.
was a guy who vaulted. He vaulted over the bar one night to stop a fight at the entrance. He was brain damaged to start with. I can't remember his name. Oh well.
Well, if you say it was brain damage, that doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a help.
He fit in with the band. You know?
Oh,
Manager John.
you're not talking about Mark Aiken, are you?
Hogan, is it Hogan, was it? There was a
I
Hogan
don't.
in New York.
I don't remember.
You're talking about Mark Aiken?
No,
I'm talking about
I don't think he was manager for long.
Hey, Ira, what was Penny Clark's husband's name?
What, Barry?
Sorry?
Penny Clark's husband's name. What was his name?
Ron Fuller.
Ron Fuller. He was a manager at the New York club.
Yeah, he came from
He was
Denver.
a He was a manager in Denver, too.
I think the most colorful manager in New York was Mike
Came
Reedy.
from Denver.
He used to go out with the girls from St. Vincent's, and they would give him bennies. So he sometimes stay up for the weekend. And he lived in an apartment house up the street from us. And he was on the 4th floor, and every night he'd go to bed, and there was no air conditioner, so he'd sleep with the window open. And the woman next door had a cat, and he'd walk along the ledge, and he'd walk into his window. And this went on for a while. And he'd get up, the cat would wake him up, and he'd go and knock on the door and say to the lady, please take care of your cat. Well, the woman says, sure, and she'd close the door. Well, he was on a Benny binge for a while there, and the cat came in. He went in and told her. She said, sure. And he went back. He says, lady, the next time the cat comes in, I'm throwing him out the window. He grabbed the cat by the tail. He swung him 2 times, and he threw him out, and the cat landed on 7th Avenue. No one knows if he landed on his feet, but we never saw the cat again. Of course, Joel had to let Mike go after that.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why.
Well, Reedy and Doug, Doug, the big guy, Doug, I can't remember his name. They went up and they opened a competitive club, if you recall.
Really?
Oh yeah, they went up on 82nd Street and started a club of their own. I can remember Doug was a big guy. He was like a linebacker.
Yeah.
But, built like one. And then they hired Bobby Hebb to come play, and Bobby Hebb had that one hit. Remember him? And put them on the map. So I lost track of them after that, but they did open a competitive club.
I'll be damned.
See, one of the things you guys didn't have to worry about was fights. We always had to worry, especially in New York. We couldn't have a fight in the club. So before the cops came, we had to have the people outside. And one time we had a fight. All these cops came in from Long Island with their wives, and they got drunk. And my kid brother was waiting on him. So he says, cut him off. So I said, okay, cut him off. Well, this one new waiter was working on him, and they started pushing him around, and one thing led to another. All of a sudden, they have their guns out, And fortunately, they were right by the back doors, right off the side of the bandstand.
The fire exit.
Everyone
fire
got
exit.
all the waiters got together and we pushed them outside. Well, the cops come, and I was always in charge of giving out the Christmas gifts to the cops, so I had to deal with it. The guys went into, the office in the back, or back where the office was. We had just laid down a new red carpet, and it was an expensive red carpet. These sons of bitches were lighting cigarettes, throwing them on the floor, burning holes in the carpet. And every time they do that, I'd go crazy. And there's Bob McKenzie trying to hold me back, and I'm going crazy. And then the cops from our neighborhood were trying to shut me up because they just wanted to get them out. And the guy's wife was pregnant. And that's what really killed me, because she's egging them on. That was the worst fight we ever had there.
Well, in New Orleans, the cops were on our side. They
Yeah.
didn't bother to
definitely.
throw people out.
Definitely.
But one night, these two short guys from Mississippi just wouldn't leave. It was like after 3 o'clock, and nobody else was in the club for the last hour. And finally, my roommate, Kent McBride, who you've all seen, he picks one of them up. And, they close off Bourbon Street most of the nights. He picks them up and he throws them out the door. And then you hear the brakes squeak. And Kent's they've opened up the street. And that we were all worried we were going to get sued, but nothing ever happened. But it was fun. We used to throw people out all the time. And then those Norwegian sailors, they were the worst.
Oh, we used to get them all the time.
But I learned that you just keep them moving and you can get them outside.
There was Navy Week down in New York, and we had Norwegian sailors in, and they were sitting on one table, and there was 3 of them, big, they were linebackers. And what they would do is they'd take a drink, slam the glass down, and punch the guy across the way from him. And I'm going, oh my God, this is gonna break out into a free-for-all. So I'm the only one there, I'm the manager. I don't know who was the manager at the time, but I used to have to jump over the bar and try to calm things down because the waiters were afraid. And they're ordering pictures of beer each, and they're just drinking out of the picture. And there's this one huge guy, and he's the instigator. He drinks, he puts it down, bam, and they're laughing. They're all laughing. Meanwhile,
they were happy.
Yeah, all the people around them are starting to slowly crawl away. And I'm saying, oh, God, that's funny. So I go to the big guy. And, of course, you saw I always was a skinny little guy. I said to him, you got to stop. And he looked at me because he didn't understand. And I said, no more. And he didn't stood. So I took the beer away from him. Oh, no. He was okay. The rest of the night, as long as we gave them beer, they were happy. No problem. They would just drink from those jugs. God.
Well, Billy Blank was thrown out. I was helping Billy Blank throw out this big Norwegian sailor. And Billy's a shark guy. And Billy looks at me and goes, boy, I'm glad you're here. I go, Billy, it doesn't matter. If this guy starts swinging, we're in trouble.
I don't really remember
those sailors, Tom.
Ian, do you remember any big fights in New York? I don't.
That's because the waiters. That's because the waiters were protecting you.
Mostly it was when the sailors came in.
Henny Youngman came into the club one night, and when I was leading the band that night, and started heckling everybody. And I asked him nicely to shut up, and he didn't. And he just kept on making raw remarks about us in the band, and finally I had to have him nicely escorted to the door. That's as close as I ever got to being in a fight.
I don't remember New York ever having a fight, but when I went up to Boston, when Joel made me a star.
Oh yeah.
Like taking over Carl Lunsford's seat, it was, I had a bad feeling. It was it was a bad feeling because that club, first of all, was downstairs.
It's in the
So
basement.
you couldn't get out.
There's only one way out. Yeah.
That's right, to the hospital. I'm trying to think. It was St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, God.
Jeez.
And
Oh, Lord.
that was another one
The
where you
worst.
could feed the
worst.
crowd raw meat on a hook. It was unbelievable. And they kept disappearing. The waiters, I remember that was the time I asked Joel why we didn't have bouncers. You know, growing up in New York, every club had a bouncer. You know, a Luca Brazzi. You looked at him and you were gone. And Joel said, in New York, we had just gotten our cabaret license from the police department. Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we could sing. We could actually sing.
We all had to get.
Otherwise-
We all had to get those damn cabaret cards. Remember those?
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
$2. $2.
Otherwise,
$2, right?
otherwise, we were known as incidental dinner music.
That's it. That was right.
Incidental dinner music. Your father's mustache. Then we got the cabaret license. And one night I picked up the microphone and I started insulting people and singing. I have no idea why I did it. And the only one who loved it was Joe Terra. Joe Terra and I spent 2 years swapping songs. We had a list of the worst songs ever written. They were like Little Sirocco. It was a hit for a week and a half.
God.
My Mother's Eyes. I brought in My Mother's Eyes. Georgie just, it was terrible when it was new. All of the songs that Joe and I did, The Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
What a zero that was. We could take a crowd on the verge of hysteria and ease them right into a coma. I walk along the street of sorrows.
The Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
I used to cry when you played that. It brought a tear to my eye.
People cried when I played, no matter what the tune was. Just one time, Gim, I got Joel. I really got Joel. He was playing lead.
Never mind.
And he called a tune that I didn't know, which was really easy. You know, I know all of the big hits from the Mustache, 12, 14 songs. And Joel called one. I think it had a diminished or an augmented in it. And I got excited. And I turned to Joel. I said, "What key are we in?" And he goes, and he went and he said, B flat. So I started playing in B flat. He was in C.
Yeah.
The whole band was in C. And I played that song as loud as I could.
In B flat.
The whole thing in B flat. I don't know how Joel put up with me musically.
Les
I
Musket
don't
did the
know
number.
how he put up with me musically.
Les Musket did a number on me once where he turned around to me, and he had set up the rest of the band, and I didn't know this, but he turned around to me and said, "The best things in life are in C." Well, I have the, so I go with the boom, boom, I do the thing, and the rest of the band's in B flat. You know?
I love
They
that.
know me perfectly.
But you got to keep playing.
Do you remember Fred Pfeffer and Alan Carey? Fred
Alan-
Pfeffer,
Yeah.
banjo player from
Alan
New York.
Carey. Wow.
Harry, he was out in Long Island.
Jeez.
Anyway, we were playing down in Wildwood, and they came in and they said, "Oh, you know, the Red Garter thing, which is down in Wildwood, is having they're doing tremendous. We were doing tremendous business, lines out the door and everything like that. So this club out in the other part of Wildwood wanted to have a competition, So they set up a thing, and they brought Alan Carey and Fred Pfeffer in. So these guys come in the first set and say, "Oh, we're doing this. Do you mind if we listen to you?" No, come on, go ahead. So anyway, we noticed that while we're playing the first set, they're writing everything down. So the band got the idea.
Jesus.
Oh, let's go. So we start thinking it was a first set, so it didn't matter. So we're thinking of the most outlandish medleys that we can. I mean, we're doing April in Paris, followed by Hello, My Baby, and things like that. Anything we could think of. These guys are writing it down. And we were playing 7 nights a week, so we never got a chance to go over there and hear our set.
The good thing, you played in lake compounds, right?
Yes.
Okay. I could play anything there, and they would love it. And I mean anything.
But they were all drunks because I was with you. They were just rowdy bastards.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I forget who else was there, but I did. I'm satisfied with my babe. She ain't got no, yes, she does. No, she don't. And I had them answer. And they went nuts. They didn't even realize. Oh, well, I loved the crowd up there. They were a little touchy, but I loved them.
And
Mike Gentry brought that same song to New Orleans. We'd never heard it in New Orleans, and Mike Gentry brought
But
that
she
one.
ain't got no.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied with my gal.
Yeah.
Oh,
She don't wear no.
And Jeff, on each break, we would ride the roller coaster.
Constantly.
Over and over and over and over and over again.
And I found the secret.
I had to
found
write
the
that
secret.
into the contract for you guys. The
All
next
I
year I
know
wrote that in the
is that
contract.
Everyone was holding back, leaning backwards. And I found out that if you lean forwards, when it drops, your center of gravity remains in your body and you don't get that whoopsie, I'm bringing up dinner. And when I found out, I wrote that damn thing continuously. It also cleared my brain.
Wait a minute.
Boy, did we have some bands up there.
Yeah.
I spoke to John McClernand today. He said he was going to try to make it tonight, but I guess he didn't.
He can't. His computer won't go on. He tried. He called me.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and his phone is too old to do it too. So.
Well, he's not fond of Zoom anyway.
No, he's not. But he was trying because he's been watching the playbacks.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. What about Franny Smith?
I haven't heard from her. Him.
No.
I contacted him, and he said, "Okay." That was the end of it.
Well, all you got to do is if you send the link to anybody, they can.
I
get
did
on.
that. I did that.
Well, next week, Banu and Christine are going to be here.
That's what
I'll
they
be
did
on.
last week.
Good.
I'll be on. I'm going to find the bathing suit. Your father's mustache, bumblebee bathing suit that we were forced to wear. God,
Hey,
you remember that? Oh,
Look, if any of you guys have any photos we haven't seen, send them to Tom.
Yeah.
And
I will.
Okay.
I have a terrific one of Russ from the New York Club.
Russ Adams?
The cook.
Wow.
Russ.
Oh, damn.
Russ.
Does anyone have a picture of Banu when she was the flapper girl down in Florida, which I think is where she first got exposed to the
Yeah.
mustache?
Yeah,
I got her.
Tom put it up
I
last
got her with a band,
Jackie
whole
Gleason?
band with Jackie Lee Gleason.
Right.
I got her- yeah, I got the whole thing. I've got
Okay,
about
well-
8 pictures. I got about 8 pictures my daughter was able to find. A couple of them were from Florida. I got one. I think it was a Thanksgiving Day parade. I got the Broadway softball league we used to play.
God.
And there's a couple of others.
You
I'll
guys
I'll send them out to you, Tom.
send them to Tom, you guys.
Yeah.
Be
I'll
good.
send them out.
I will.
I need to go. Good night,
I
guys.
need to
All
go
right,
too.
Take
Good
care.
seeing you, guy.
Let me go and
Oh,
see.
Bye.
Think of lake compounds.
Yes, let's go.
Do you
That's
remember
what
the
John McClernand said. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not Florida, though, I don't think.
It's Danny Howard.
That's Danny Howard. Yeah.
Do you remember the washboard player down in Florida, Melody Moorhead? Remember that name?
No.
God,
Yeah,
no.
she was actually a good player. She was actually a good one, but she would call everyone Mr. I mean, she never called me anything else but Mr. Roselle. When
Oh, she was at the wrong club.
Yeah.
Was at the wrong club.
she called everyone. It was pretty straight arrow.
Hey, you. Hey, you.
Hey.
I'm looking at the banjo players and I realize something. I'm still the only tenor player.
Oh, I played tenor.
Oh, that's right.
Not
And-
like you, though.
No. You're as good as I am. Believe me. Believe me. Playing with one hand, you're as good as I am.
Tenor
tenor's tough.
as viola in the orchestra. They're tuned the same way.
Now, Joel said to me, he never wanted to hear a single string player. And I looked at him, I said, what the hell are you talking about? A single string player. I'm lucky to do anything. I learned, oh no. Ronnie Beizell gave me such shit. He said, someday you're going to be playing lead. And I looked at him, right. He said, you got to learn a couple of songs. And I said, no, but I did. The world is waiting for the sunrise and Bye Bye Blues.
Bye Bye Blues.
Two absolute killers. Songs that would take a crowd down like a lead balloon. I couldn't. And all the players were better. God, my sidemen were better than me, which isn't hard, but I'd let them play. Go for it. The big thing I had with the introductions, holy Kim, you remember the introductions that Ronnie Bill played?
Oh.
Ronnie Bill was down for about 3 days in New York for something, and he played, and he blew me away.
Yeah.
He took my tenor banjo,
Oh, yeah.
and he played, are you ready, guys? Stars and Stripes Forever. And then he put it down, picked up the plectrum, and played it with the plectrum.
Yeah.
That was when I called Vito and said, break his thumbs.
Yeah.
Break his thumbs.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing was when you guys came on, Mike, you were an entertainer. You were an entertainer. Barry, you became an entertainer. But some of the guys, no, Kim, we always looked up to you because you
What the
were a
hell
good
for?
player. No, you were, well, we were short. You were a good player and you never gave a shit. You never gave a shit. Oh God. When these guys would get on and play me under the table, I'd go for it. Go for it. Please, the next song is going to be the Mother Medley or some shit. Off of the give me 8-bar intro. Go for it. And they played these beautiful intros. I couldn't stay awake. God. Well, guys, I gotta go. It's wonderful seeing you. I even
Yeah.
put on a shirt. It's wonderful seeing you guys.
Rest.
I will
I gotta
get
close
some-
my cafe too, so I'm gonna
All right,
go. But I wanted to
Yeah.
say we used to joke about Gim being the mild-mannered Clark Kent coming into the club in New York. This mild-mannered guy, then he put the banjo out, and wow,
Yeah, you want
just
to.
like silk. And Craig Grant was a whole lot like that too. He just what a soft, fabulous sound came out of the horn with Craig.
That's it.
And, oh,
Gim
just
played
amazing.
beautifully.
But I
Gim
applaud
plays beautifully.
everybody. You know, it was lots of good times. And
I'll
I'll see
tell
you
you
next
something.
week.
All right.
Yeah.
See you next week, man.
Christine,
Be well.
When you came in the first time that I was playing, I looked down and you had cuffs on your chinos. I went, holy shit, what do we have here? The guy's wearing real shoes and cuffs. I went, God. And then he started to play and it was sweet.
Yeah.
And you always had a great attitude. God, I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Oh,
I gotta
okay.
get myself
Bye,
set.
Joan.
Have a run too, Tom.
Hi,
See you
Joe.
later.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Oops.
Be well.
All right. See you next week.
oh, look, everybody got bigger. Oh, Lord.
Hey, how about that? It adjusts itself.
Man.
We all got bigger.
Hey, Ira, are you in the hurricane's way?
No, I think it's going to hit more of the East Coast.
Okay.
I think we'll just get a lot of rain, but I don't think the hurricane's going to be that much anyway.
Well,
We're trying to send it to New Orleans.
Ask me in South Carolina. Am I going to be in the way?
South Carolina's not going to do too good.
Yeah, I think you have more chance of getting it than Florida. I mean,
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay.
it's supposed to come up here on Tuesday, and Craig and I have the first gig of the summer because everything's been canceled up until now. So it's a parking lot concert. One of these, everybody drives their car in, and we set up on the end of the place, and they mic us all over the parking lot. But if that damn hurricane comes here, we'll lose that one too.
Yeah, it's supposed to travel up the East Coast, I think. Hit Florida and travel up the East Coast.
Right.
So we'll see. John McClure, when I spoke to him, said he thinks Joel should have the reunion in Lake Compounce. I've never been there. I don't know what it is.
Maybe we should send you there and see if you can get the gig signed.
That's okay. What is it, a campground or something, or an amusement park? Or?
Yeah, it's the oldest amusement park in Connecticut. As a matter of fact, the roller coaster was a wooden roller coaster, the oldest working roller coaster in the United States, and it was all wood. So when you went around those curves, you felt the nails start to come out of the woodwork.
Hey, Bob Price.
That must be a good ride.
It was.
What about the Ryman Theater in Nashville for a reunion?
That'd be great.
Yeah, wouldn't that be neat? The Ryman Theater. Oh.
I think it would cost a lot, that's for sure.
Well, the money Joel has or had.
So what do you guys think? You think we'll ever have a reunion?
That'll be tough because this
I don't
pandemic.
think it's going to be this year, Barry.
I think this is it.
Yeah, I think Herb's right. Because it's not going to be this year.
Well, that's one of the things I asked Joel to write us about. I said, tell us about what's going on with the reunion. But maybe he'll write next week.
Right back.
Yeah. But I tried.
I've written him a couple of emails and he hasn't answered them, so I'm beginning to worry.
Yeah.
Is he home or still in intensive care, or where's Joel?
I think
now?
he's still in rehab, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought he should have been out by now from what he said last time, but
That's my gauge, right?
yeah. And the email I have is his, but Emily writes sometimes on it.
Yes, she does.
But I wish I had a separate one for her.
Well, she does have one. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Because at least we could find out what's going on.
Yeah, she's quite good about that. she's very loyal to him, but she's very good about that.
Gentlemen, I'm off. A treat. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
And we'll see you next week.
Next week.
sir.
Next week. I'll be here.
Good luck with the hurricane.
guys.
Herb.
Okay, thanks a lot. I'm assuming I'll be here. Okay, talk to you soon.
All right.
See
bye-bye.
everybody next
Herb.
week.
Yeah,
See you, Herb.
I'm
Coming,
gonna
guys.
miss Christine.
Yeah, I was surprised Christine was on last week.
She looked the same, huh, Ira?
I think so. I last saw her at Joe Terra's memorial.
Oh, wow.
She was there. She
Oh,
hasn't aged a day.
No,
I tell you, I was surprised. I
Yeah, she
mean,
looks
I
good.
hadn't seen her since 1972. What's that, 48
Oh,
years? She
I
looked-
saw her, I think in, what year did Joe, I think
around then too.
2005. She looked good. I thought she looked great. How
Yeah.
old is she? She our age, 70s?
She's in the,
Got it.
she's 76, I think.
76, okay.
Wow.
Wow. She looks good, I thought.
Well, she was
Unless
real.
that's her daughter. I don't know. God, I'm telling you, I was just dumbstruck when I saw her. Just gorgeous. I always had a thing for her. I always liked redheads. My wife was a redhead. So I always liked redheads. And she had all these freckles. And she's the
Yeah.
first redhead I knew who wasn't embarrassed about red freckles. I like that about her. Anyway, I tell you one other story about managers. About managers. You all know, most of you know my brother. You know my
Vinny.
brother.
Vinny,
Huh?
Vinny.
Vinny, yeah. He managed the Boston club for a while. And he didn't last long there because he wasn't Irish. That was one of his problems. That was just one of his problems. My wife and I, we fly up there. I had to go up there. Joe sends me up there to check out there. I had to check the improper Bostonian, and he just wanted me to check that out. And they were talking about moving. He wanted me to look at some other clubs. So I'm flying up there, and I'm up there already. My wife works. She's working at Tiffany's. So Friday, she gets out and she flies up. So now Friday night, we're in the bar, and my brother says, wait a while, I just got to make sure everything's okay, and then we'll go out to eat. And he's standing near the register at the bar. All of a sudden, I see him, this guy comes out of nowhere and just clocks him. I mean, he just hits him like crap from behind. And my brother stood there, and I'd never seen it. He just went, literally, he went crazy. He grabbed the kid by the neck, and he dragged the kid out the door, up the stairs. And by this time, I'm there behind the guy, and I'm telling him, let go of the kid, let go of the kid. I figure between the two of us, we can. He's got the kid by the neck, and the kid's not even fighting. He gets out, we go out the door, and he bangs him against a car, and now he is just frozen. He won't, he must have lost his mind. He's got this, and the kid's just saying, I can't breathe. And I'm trying to get my brother off him, and I can't take him off by force. So I had to start rubbing his back, and I started talking to him nice and easy. And finally, he let go of the kid, and the kid falls back. And the kid says to him, I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else. God. That was the kind of band, the kind of audience he got out there. Improper Bostonian, we moved it across the street to a hotel, and the mafia took it over. It was a real screw. We got that. What was his name? He managed the club. He lived up there. He was a teacher.
Who do you want?
Jim, you know who I'm talking about. You remember? He worked there as a waiter, but he was a school teacher during the day. I don't remember his name.
In New York, John?
Huh?
In
No,
New York?
in Boston.
Crick Perkins.
No, not him. He was a no one trusted him. He was a real, anyway, he was the manager of the club at the time of the Improper Bostonian, and we were gonna move it because of the theater was complaining about the noise we make and everything. So we get, the whole Crustaway was a hotel, we make a deal with the hotel. What we don't know is that he's mixed up with the mafia, and now he's brought them in. So I'm there to bring everything over, make sure the opening night goes well. And so I go to the hotel, I said, where's the safe? I need a safe. And this big guy, Luco Bracco, comes over to me and he says, no safe. And now I know I'm in trouble. No safe. I said, well, I got to keep the money somewhere. He says, I'll take care of the money. I got on the phone to Joel and I says, you just lost the Improper Bostonian. And Brian, what? His first name was,
Brian. Yeah. I know who you mean.
but that was it. And now Brian, after that, Brian opened a big club on the square, and I used to book rock and roll acts into his club. And the last time I talked to him, he got pissed at me. I had the group Dancing in the Moonlight. That's the guys who wrote Dancing in the Moonlight, and they had just come back from Europe. And I booked him into his club. He went out and did all this advertising, and the group broke up. And he never come down here again. I'll kill you. I'm all this. Okay, Brian. All right. He really was a weird guy.
So
Right.
back in the 60s and 70s, Bourbon Street was owned by the mafia.
Really?
Everything, all the clubs were run by the boys. So about 2 years ago, Joel was visiting in New Orleans, and Mike and I got together with him. But anyway, I asked Joel, I said, well, how did you come into Bourbon Street and not have to be tied up with the boys? And he said, well, there's two reasons. He says they did research and they saw what type of operation we ran in other cities. They thought it would be a generator for their clubs. That was the main reason. He said, and perhaps they let me go because I had an Italian name.
Right.
Yeah, I would figure that.
Well,
he told me that same story about his opening in the Boston club. He said because the mafia is leaving him alone because they think he's one of them.
Right.
Well,
when I was working down there, those are the only people that I lost money to. Carlos Marcello still owes me $25. I'm not going to collect it. I took photos in one of the strip clubs, and this girl, all these girls are in the back room, and this is before everybody has cameras on their cell phones and stuff, and they're all biker chicks, and they want photos to put in biker magazines. And I'm like, well, yeah, I could do that kind of stuff. And the one girl says, well, I have a lot of tattoos. And I said, where is the tattoo? And she pulls down her pants, and Toto, the Ed Sullivan little cartoon character, is right above her pussy. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
He was afraid to embarrass you?
That didn't embarrass me. I was having a good time.
How long did it take you to take the picture, Tom?
It took me a long time. I had to get that.
Couple hours,
That's
huh?
right.
You got that slow motion effect.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Hey, guys.
Okay, guys, I'm going to check out.
It's time. It's
Okay.
time.
I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for
Don't forget next week. It looks like you and Christine will
I can't wait to see Christine.
Yeah,
She looks good.
That'll
She
be
looks
fun.
great.
You won't believe your eyes, huh, John?
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
You won't believe it. It was fun last week with Banu. I think she had a nice time.
I think
She did.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
She sent me a message right before this call started. She was having plumbing problems.
Ooh.
First, she asked me for the address. She was going to come on today. Then she sent me a message saying she had plumbing problems, and she'll see us next week. So.
Good. Take care, guys.
All right.
See you all next
All
week.
right. Bye-bye.
Barry, say hi to Donnie.
Thanks, Tom.
All right. See you guys later. Bye-bye.